Hello everyone, I'm Chad Kay, and I will be talking today about airplanes. Each week, I will speak on a different topic. The goal of this podcast is to provide you with interesting facts about various things, with peaceful, relaxing music in the background. The goal is to help you relax and drift off into a meditative state, or to help you drift off to sleep after a busy day. So find a comfortable spot or lie down, close your eyes if you want, and lose yourself in these relaxing facts. Airplanes. An airplane, often shortened to plane, is a fixed-wing aircraft that is propelled forward by thrust from a jet engine, propeller, or rocket engine. Airplanes come in many different sizes, shapes, and wing type. The many uses for airplanes includes recreation, transportation of goods and people, military, and research. Worldwide, commercial aviation transports more than 4 billion passengers a year on airliners and transports more than 200 billion tons of cargo annually, which is less than 1% of the world's cargo movement. Most airplanes are flown by a pilot on board the aircraft, but some are designed to be remotely or computer controlled, such as drones. The Wright brothers invented and flew the first airplane in 1903, recognized as the first sustained and controlled heavier-than-air powered flight. They built on the works of George Cayley, dating from 1799, when he set forth the concept of the modern airplane, and later built and flew models and successful passenger-carrying gliders, and the work of German pioneer of human aviation, Otto Lilienthal, who, between 1867 and 1896, also studied heavier-than-air flight. Lilienthal's flight attempts in 1891 are seen as the beginning of human flight. Following its limited use in World War I, aircraft technology continued to develop. Airplanes had a presence in all the major battles of World War II. The first jet aircraft was a German Heinkel He 178 in 1939. The first jet airliner, the de Havilland Comet, was introduced in 1952. The Boeing 707, the first wildly successful commercial jet, was in commercial service for more than 60 years, from 1958 to 2019. First attested in English in the late 19th century, prior to the first sustained powered flight. The word airplane derives from the French aéroplane, which comes from the Greek aer, meaning air, and either Latin planus, meaning level, or Greek planos, which means wandering. Aeroplane originally referred just to the wing, as it is a plane moving through the air. In time, the word for the wing came to refer to the entire aircraft. Many stories from antiquity involve flight, such as the Greek legend of Icarus and Daedalus, in the Vimana in ancient Indian epics. Around 400 BC, in Greece, Archytas was reputed to have designed and built the first artificial, self-propelled flying device, a bird-shaped model propelled by a jet of what was probably steam, said to have flown 200 meters or 660 feet. This machine may have been suspended for its flight. Some of the earliest recorded attempts with gliders were those by the 9th century Andalusian and Arabic language poet Abbas ibn Firnas and the 11th century English monk Aylmer of Malmesbury. Both experiments injured their pilots. Leonardo da Vinci researched the wing design of birds and designed a man-powered aircraft in his Codex on the Flight of Birds, 1502, noting for the first time the distinction between the center of mass and the center of pressure of flying birds. The American Wright brothers' flights in 1903 are recognized as the first sustained and controlled heavier-than-air powered flight. By 1905, the Wright Flyer 3 was capable of fully controllable, stable flight for long periods. The Wright brothers credited Otto Lilienthal as a major inspiration for their decision to pursue manned flight. In 1906, the Brazilian Alberto Santos Dumont made what was claimed to be the first airplane flight unassisted by catapult and set the first world record recognized by the Aero Club de France by flying 220 meters, which is 720 feet, in less than 22 seconds. An aircraft propeller, or air screw, converts rotary motion from an engine or other power source into a swirling slipstream which pushes the propeller forwards or backwards. It is made of a rotating power-driven hub to which are attached 2 or more radial airfoil section blades so that the whole assembly rotates about a longitudinal axis. 3 types of aviation engines used to power propellers include reciprocating engines or piston engines, gas turbines, and electric motors. The amount of thrust a propeller creates is determined in part by its disk area, the area through which the blades rotate. The limitation on blade speed is the speed of sound, as when the blade tip exceeds the speed of sound, shock waves decrease propeller efficiency. The RPM required to generate a given tip speed is inversely proportional to the diameter of the propeller. The upper design speed limit for propeller-driven aircraft is Mach 0.6. Aircraft designed to go faster than that employ jet engines. Jet aircraft are propelled by jet engines, which are used because the aerodynamic limitations of propellers do not apply to jet propulsion. These engines are much more powerful than a reciprocating engine for a given size or weight, and are comparatively quiet and work well at higher altitude. Variants of the jet engine include the ramjet and the scramjet, which rely on high airspeed and intake geometry to compress the combustion air prior to the introduction and ignition of fuel. Rocket motors provide thrust by burning a fuel with an oxidizer and expelling gas through a nozzle. The wings of a fixed-wing aircraft are static planes extending either side of the aircraft. When the aircraft travels forward, air flows over the wings, which are shaped to create lift. This shape is called an airfoil and is shaped like a bird's wing. Airplanes have flexible wing surfaces which are stretched across a frame and made rigid by the lift forces exerted by the airflow over them. Larger aircraft have rigid wing surfaces which provide additional strength. Whether flexible or rigid, most wings have a strong frame to give them their shape and to transfer lift from the wing surface to the rest of the aircraft. The main structural elements are one or more spars running from roof to tip, and many ribs running from the leading front to the trailing rear edge. Early airplane engines had little power, and lightness was very important. Also, early airfoil sections were very thin and could not have a strong frame installed within. So, until the 1930s, most wings were too lightweight to have enough strength, and external bracing struts and wires were added. When the available engine power increased during the 1920s and 30s, wings could be made heavy and strong enough that bracing was not needed anymore. This type of unbraced wing is called a cantilever wing. Okay, everyone, this would have been the end of the talk, but my girlfriend wanted to make sure that I mentioned the Concorde. So, here's a little bit about it. The Concorde is a retired supersonic airliner jointly developed and manufactured by Sud Aviation and the British Aircraft Corporation. Studies started in 1954. In France and the United Kingdom signed a treaty establishing the development project on November 29, 1962. Construction of the 6 prototypes began in February 1965, and the first flight took off from Toulouse on March 2, 1969. The market was predicted for 350 aircraft, and the manufacturers received up to 100 option orders from many major airlines. On October 9, 1975, it received its French certificate of Airworthiness, and from the UK, CAA, on December 5th. The Concorde is a tailless aircraft designed with a narrow fuselage permitting 4 abreast seating for 92 to 128 passengers. It has a rounded, tapered delta wing and a droop nose for landing visibility. It is powered by 4 turbojets with variable engine intake ramps and reheat for takeoff and acceleration to supersonic speed. Constructed out of aluminum, it was the first airliner to have analog fly-by-wire flight controls. The airliner had transatlantic range while supercruising at twice the speed of sound for 75% of the distance. The Concorde had a maximum cruising speed of 2,179 kilometers per hour, which is 1,354 miles per hour, or Mach 2.04. On February 7th, 1996, the Concorde flew from New York to London in 2 hours, 52 minutes, and 59 seconds. It reached a top speed of 1,350 miles per hour. Supersonic airliner flights, including those of the Concorde, have been limited to overwater flight at supersonic speed because of their sonic boom, which is prohibited over most populated land areas. The high cost of operation per passenger mile and a deadly crash in 2000 caused the operators of the Concorde to remove it from service. Okay, well, this concludes my talk this week about airplanes. If you have enjoyed this episode of Relaxing Facts, then please subscribe to this podcast or leave a comment if you want. I hope you have a wonderful day, whether you're de-stressing from your day's events or if you're just passing the time by just listening. Anyway, thank you. I am Chad K, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.